will be honest, when I first started working there, I was a little bit bored. The job I had prior to that was much more fast-paced. I worked at Montauk Community Services, which is a mental health agency in McKeesport. I had a big caseload. I had lots of crises to deal with all the time. I had a lot of stuff going on. And I got to JFCS, and my supervisor at the time was like, we don't want to overwhelm you. We're just going to take it slow. So I went from having like 35 clients to having 2 clients. And I honestly was bored. So I was like, I'm going to go to grad school, I think. So I applied to Pitt School of Social Work, and I was accepted. And so I worked full time. I went to grad school part time, and that took about 4 years to complete. I stayed in the foster care and adoption department for a while. And then one of the other departments at Jewish Family and Community Services, the Career Development Center, got a grant to provide job training and work readiness skills to young people who had aged out of the foster care system. So I was able to sort of still work with my passion, child welfare system, working with older people, now 18-year-olds, as opposed to like maybe an 8-year-old. And I transferred to the Career Development Center, still at Jewish Family and Community Services. I've been there for the last 7 or 8 years or so. And then I sort of started to want more out of my career. I wanted more responsibility. I wanted to sort of move up in level at the agency. So I made those goals known to my supervisor, who then shared them with our chief operating officer at JFCS. And I guess the timing worked out well because the Upstreet program was just sort of getting underway, and they were like, oh, you like working with teenagers? You like mental health? We have the perfect job for you. So then I was sort of transitioned to the Upstreet, which I will talk about more later. So that's me. I would like to hear from you. So I don't know, Jeremy, if you want to monitor like the who's going to go next, or if you want me to look at my screen and go through that, whatever you think might be better or most efficient.
Yeah, just call them out.
Okay, let me see who I got. First, I'm assuming you guys are the staff. Naquaya? Naquaya, hi.
Hi.
So can you just, oh, I should explain. If you could just tell me your name, if you see the screen, like there's something you want me to know about you, something that's been on your mind lately, a challenge you're facing, or if you just want to tell me your name and we can go on to the next person, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I'm not queer. There's nothing really special about me. I'm in the 10th
I'm
grade.
sure there's something special about you.
I'm in
You're
the
very
10th grade.
special, Naquaya.
Special needs.
She is very stylish, first off.
Oh, well, there you go. That's something.
Right.
I can't see her, but I believe you. Okay. Thanks, Naquaya.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next is SCJ, is what I'm seeing.
Rena.
Ooh,
Hi.
there she is. Hi. Is there anything you want to say? Something that's been on your mind lately, challenges you're having, successes you've had maybe too?
Well, no, not really. I actually just been chilling, talking to my counselor more often so I can be in the right state of mind during quarantine mostly.
Good.
And to get my mind off that, I've been just having new well, not really challenges, but having a new activity every day. Like today, I did tie-dyeing.
Ooh.
So,
How'd it turn out?
I made a big mess in the house.
Which is why I'm not doing tie-dye in my house. You're braver than I am.
I'm surprised my mom said I can do it, actually, because she knows I'm messy. But I cleaned it up. I cleaned it up with some bleach and some Comet and stuff. And everything's in the basement getting dried. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next is Ramon.
Yeah, my name's Ramon. I don't know what to say.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks, Ramon. Quay's next.
I think she's probably doing something.
Oh, there she is.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm a senior. I go to Obama. You know where that is?
I do.
Okay, yeah, I go to Obama. Well, I used to go there. I like talking to people. I like working with people. So my career goals is to make sure I'm involved with people and communities pretty much. And something that I've been wanting to work on, I guess now, is like my skills. So I feel like I should be working on like my writing skills because I like to write. And I feel like instead of just like being overwhelmed with all this school stuff and work stuff, I should be doing something that I actually like as well. So I'm gonna start working on writing again.
Good. Thank you. Zamira?
Samira's internet connection is sometimes a little slow, so it
Okay.
might take a minute.
Okay, we'll come back. We'll try again at the end. How about that?
Perfect.
Nicoya?
Nicoya.
Sorry. I even tried to pay attention because I heard Miss Carla say it at the beginning.
You said me?
Yeah.
My connection.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but hi, I'm Nicoya. I'm also interested in writing. Lately, I've been doing online school, because we get a lot of work now.
Mm.
But that's pretty much it. I'm like into shoes, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Wait a minute. Everybody moved around now. I'm out of order. Danielle?
Hi, I'm Danielle. I like photography, and that's about it, I guess.
Okay.
Yep.
Don't forget about your J-pop.
Huh? That's Korean music.
K-pop.
Oh, it's K-pop,
Yeah.
not J-pop. I'm
I
sorry.
was like, I've never heard of
It's
J-pop.
like
I've heard of K-pop.
Korean
Okay.
music, yeah. It's that.
Okay. Let me make sure I'm getting everybody. That was Danielle. How about Mike?
Michael.
Yeah, my name is Michael, and something that's been on that mind is food and what I'm gonna eat for dinner.
Because you're feeling hungry.
Yup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me know if you think of anything. I could use some ideas too. Rainique.
Who's that?
Ready?
Are you there?
Ready?
You're not.
Who's Ronique?
What about right now?
That's what I'm saying.
Ronique or right now?
Yeah.
One should be-
Either of the Durham sisters. Where y'all at?
Older
I'm right here.
Okay.
Yay, hi, right now.
Hi. Something I've been doing lately is doing it on the computer is a little more challenging. I've been trying to keep up with staying with straight A's, so I have them now, and I just want to keep it for the quarter.
Okay.
Good for
Thank
you.
Jordan.
My name is Jordan, and let's see. One thing that's on my is the schoolwork as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And who did we skip? Zamira? Any improvement on the internet situation?
Zamira just sent me a chat and said his internet
Oh, I see.
is incredibly laggy, so
Okay.
might not be able to, yeah.
That's
But
okay.
I can introduce him. Zamira is a wonderful young man who is at SciTech, and he very much enjoys helping his family and watching Twitch streams of video games.
Okay. Thank you. Did I get everybody?
Feel like somebody's watching me.
Okay.
We got some singers.
Serena, your mic's on, hon.
Let's see. I'm like,
Oh.
hello.
Sorry.
Oh, Zoom is the best, right?
It really is.
Okay. All right, so let's move on. I'm gonna talk, what am I gonna talk about next? Get my screen working again here. Okay, Jewish Family and Community Services, so that is where I work. We are located in Squirrel Hill, if you're familiar with that neighborhood, sort of right on the main drag off Murray Avenue. There's like a Giant Eagle and an Eaton Park there that's right near our building. So our mission statement there on the right is helping people through life's challenges and changes. We have a lot of different services that we offer at JFCS. You can see those listed there on the left. Like I mentioned earlier, we do have a career development center, which is one of our bigger departments. And certainly right now it's one of our busier departments because there are so many people that are unemployed or laid off or filing for unemployment. And so we're assisting with all of that type of work right now. We also have counseling services. So we offer therapy. We have therapists on site. We have a guardianship service, which means sometimes adults are deemed to be sort of not able to take care of themselves by the court system. So they're assigned a guardian in JFCS. Actually, I think somebody just told me we are the only guardianship program left in Allegheny County. So that's an interesting fact. We also have immigration legal services and refugee and immigrant services. Immigration legal services is what it sounds like, the legal side of things. So people that need help with visas, people that need help filing documentation, people that want to bring like family members over to establish residency. The refugee department resettles refugees. So people that are identified as refugees in other countries throughout the world, JFCS resettles them here in Pittsburgh if that's where they end up coming to. We're the largest agency that does that in Western Pennsylvania. We also offer senior services, so taking care of like your grandparents, aged people, providing care for them in their home. Some of them come in for therapy. We have a in-home caregiver program. And we also operate the Squirrel Hill Food Pantry, which serves the 15217 zip code and is also the only kosher food pantry in Pittsburgh. So people, Jewish people keep kosher sometimes. They're like dietary laws, and we're the only place that offers kosher food. So people that both are food insecure, need help getting extra food, and keep kosher can come to our food pantry regardless of their neighborhood.
Ms. Erin, can I interrupt real quick?
Yes, please.
Two things. First, a question for our participants here. CEOs, does anybody know what any of the laws of what's called kashrut or keeping kosher in the Jewish religion? I know we've talked about it a little bit in terms of similarities between Judaism and Islam in terms of dietary restrictions. Does anybody remember what we talked about? It was a while ago.
I don't think I was there, so.
I know I wasn't there.
Does anybody know off the top of their head one thing that Jewish people who keep kosher are not allowed to eat according to the laws?
Pork? Yeah,
That's it. That's a big one. Right?
Beef?
No, so I had bacon on my sandwich today, so I'm not doing great with that. But yeah, no pork. Anybody else?
Bacon.
What do you say?
Get turkey bacon.
Hey, I'm sorry. This is America, all right? I'm sorry. We don't do turkey bacon.
That's good.
Turkey bacon is
turkey
bomb.
bacon's fire.
Exactly. What? I get turkey bacon.
All right, so we can hit up turkey bacon. So no pork. And anybody else know one other thing you can't
Beef?
have? What do you say?
Beef?
Beef? No, beef we got.
I don't know.
It's a kind of seafood. You usually need
Shrimp?
tools. What do you say?
Fish?
You need tools to eat it besides a fork. What do you have to crack open? What kind of seafood do you have to crack open?
Crab.
Crab, lobster, shellfish, right? So no
Oh,
pork,
that sucks.
no shellfish. You know, if you believe in it, it's worth it to you. You know. All right, wonderful. Thank you. And then one other thing that Jews aren't allowed to do, and it has a lot less to do with what they buy than how they combine it, but you're not supposed to mix milk and meat either. So my bacon cheeseburger the other day was absolutely sacrilegious. All right,
You're going to get your car taken back. It's going to kick you out of the faith.
Wait, they can't have milk?
Well, so you can't have milk and meat at the same time.
Oh, so you can't like eat foods that require milk, like cheese?
Yeah, so you can't put cheese on a burger, for example. And the whole thing is basically the laws in Judaism say that because baby cows drink their mother's milk to sustain themselves, they're saying it's kind of an insult to the cow you're eating to eat it and mix it with the thing that would keep it alive. So that's the basis of the law. Yeah, it might sound silly, but there are a lot of things that a lot of sound silly to people who went in it, right? So that's the big thing. All right, thank you, Ms. Erin, for letting me interrupt. The one question I had for you was, do people who take advantage of your services have to be of the Jewish faith?
No. And actually, most of our clients are probably not Jewish. I'm sure they used to be at some point, but because we provide such a wide range of services, most of our clients are not Jewish. Especially, you know, like the refugees and immigrants, there's not a lot of Jews coming in as refugees. So actually quite a lot of Muslims from various countries in Africa and the Middle East are a large portion of our population that we serve and that we employ. We have staff members of all different faiths. We have many languages spoken by our staff and by our clients as well. So nope, you do not have to be Jewish. The only one service we do have that you have to be Jewish, which I didn't put on here, we have a scholarship program, a scholarship fund, I guess, but it is only for Jewish people. So that's the only one.
Cool, thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. Upstreet. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about Upstreet because that's my job, number one, and because it's actually something that's very relevant to you and your place in this world as a high school student / teenager. Okay, so what is Upstreet? It is a new, soon to be opening, we hope, mental health center for teenagers and young adults. We're looking at age 14 to 22. Actually, I take that back, 12 to 22, so even down into like middle school age kids. The idea being is that there are not a lot of teen specific or young adult specific mental health services in Pittsburgh. The other thing with mental health services as they currently are, it can be really difficult to get an appointment. I don't know if any of you have ever tried or someone in your family has ever tried, but you might wait 2 or 3 weeks for an appointment. And if you're feeling like you want to talk to somebody now, like you're dealing with this situation right now, like today, I need to talk to somebody, unless you call Resolve Crisis Center, you're probably not going to be able to get help immediately. Upstreet is hoping to change that. We do not require appointments. We do not have to know who you are. You can show up at our door. We will let you in. We will talk to you, figure out what you need from us in that moment, how we can help you. So like I said, drop-in services, no appointment needed. At least for now, we have grant funding, so we don't even need to bill your insurance right away. That's something we'll talk about down the road. In addition to all of that, we will also offer traditional therapy. So if any of you have ever been in therapy or know people that are, you come and meet with your therapist every other week, once a month, whatever feels right. So that will be a part of it too, both individual therapy and family therapy. We are also hoping to have a very creative art making space with lots of supplies. We have an art therapist on staff already at JFCS. She's going to be helping us out, with the idea being that sometimes just creative expression is enough to help bring down a mood or get you out of a funk. You don't necessarily need to sit and talk to somebody about how you're feeling. Sometimes art can do that for you. Movement, music, lots of things like that. We also want to help promote mental health advocacy and access to services, and making sure that mental health, the stigma surrounding mental health, continues to go away. I feel like you guys in your generation are making it a little bit better than it was maybe for me or some of your staff here. It's still not perfect. I don't think lots of people are like, what did you do this weekend? Oh, I just saw my therapist. I wish more people were comfortable talking about that, but we're not quite there yet. The other part of Upstreet, that what we're doing right now, since we're not physically open in our space, is we are looking for young people to advise us. We need an advisory board. So, it says, spoiler, I'm not a young adult. I'm not a teenager. None of the other people working on this program are either. And since we are making a space and creating a service for teens and young adults, we need you to tell us how to do that. You don't get to make all of the decisions, but we definitely want your input. We want your suggestions. We want to make sure that our adult brains that think we know what's interesting or appealing to young people, we want to make sure it really is. So we need a board. Jeremy, I don't think I ever sent it to you, but I am going to send you the job description and the application. Great, we want you all to apply if you're interested. You don't have to be involved in mental health treatment. You don't have to have ever been involved in mental health treatment. If you have any interest in, you know, making sure that your peers and other people in the city of Pittsburgh are well and are taken care of, this might be an opportunity for you. For people that are thinking long-term about a career as a social worker, as a psychologist, in some type of helping profession, this could also be a good opportunity for you. You know, we're a nonprofit. Lots of nonprofit-y things happen in our world that you could be a part of if you are on the board. Any questions about that before I go on?
Nope.
Okay. I'm going to go on. If you think of something or change your mind, just pop it into the chat and we'll come back to it. All right, so let's move into the more interesting part of the presentation, hopefully. Tips and tools, things you can start doing, things you can, tools you can use to help you sort of deal with our current reality. We're going to start with self-care. So I have this quote up here: "You cannot serve from an empty vessel." What do you guys think about that? Does that mean anything to you? Why do you think that might show up on a slide or in a presentation about self-care? Do you have any thoughts about that quote?
You can't help people before helping yourself.
Yep, basically. Thank you. I heard somebody else maybe start to speak up too.
Yeah, I agree with her. When I first read it, it seemed like you got to make sure you're okay first before you know, check on other people.
Yeah.
Because if you're not okay, then how do you expect anybody else to be okay?
Right. Yep. And not even just for taking care of other people, but just sort of like existing in the world. You can't put things out. You can't take care of the things that you need to take care of, whether it's your schoolwork, your family, other responsibilities that you have, if you're empty, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all types of emptiness, right? So then on that line, could you give me a definition of self-care, or could you explain it to me? Have you ever heard of it? Is this something you guys hear all about? Are you sick of hearing about self-care, or is this a new topic?
Yeah, we hear about it.
Okay.
It's pretty much just focusing on yourself and knowing how to treat yourself and how to not make yourself okay, but like you need to get to know yourself before you get to know anything else.
Good. Anybody else? Okay. So what I have as a definition, and this is like not an official definition by any means, but it's things we intentionally do to take care of our physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, or professional well-being. So I include professional in here because I know this is like a professional-oriented program. I know you're in high school now, but it sounds like some of you at least are thinking about careers. I think professional well-being could also include yourself as a student right now. Like, what do you need to be successful in school? What do you need to stay focused on your goals? Things like that as you're moving towards your career. Can you give me examples of self-care? What's an activity or a thing that you could do that would fall under the realm of self-care?
Go on places by yourself.
Ooh, yes. I miss that. I miss being by myself. Yep, going places by yourself, places that you like, places that bring you joy, that are fun for you. Absolutely.
Sleep.
Sleep. Is everybody getting enough sleep?
Healthy.
What was that? I think I spoke over somebody.
Working out and eating healthy.
Yes, eating healthy, working out, physical activity. Other things?
Doing things that like calm you or put you at ease. Like if you're frustrated, you do something to get your mind off of something. That's self-care as well.
Absolutely.
I would say writing. I would say writing because like if you have like a lot of emotions inside of you that you really don't want to talk about, you can write them down.
Absolutely. Any type of creative expression, right? And I would put writing in that, but that could also be art, could be making something, could be dancing if that's your thing, singing, like something that's using that other part of your brain to create something beautiful. Good. I think, okay, so I have a whole list of things here. I think you guys talked about a lot of them. So we talked about exercise, reading, sleep, being outside. I know it's kind of like not that pretty of a day, but like hopefully spring is coming soon and we'll have some warmer weather, some sunshine. Even just stepping outside and like feeling the warm sun on your skin after being inside all day or for all year or however long we've been inside for now. Getting that sun, feeling the breeze, like the birds are chirping, all of that stuff can be good for your soul, I think. Practicing gratitude, you know, there's all kinds of stuff that's wrong right now, right? So it doesn't hurt to think about some of the things that we are also appreciative of or things that we're happy to have existing in our life. Social media breaks. Social media can be a good escape. It can be a good thing to take your mind off of stuff, but I think it's really also easy to get caught up in it. And now you're like,
I think that's one of,
go ahead.
Sorry, I think that's one of the main things we have to do as our generation. We need to take the breaks from social media because it's a lot.
It is a lot. It's hard. It's like this double-edged sword, right? Because on one hand, especially right now, it keeps you connected to people. It might be the only way you have to interact with others or to find out like what's going on with people that you used to see every day and now you're not seeing. But at the same time, it's really easy to go down real fast on social media, right? And you're like getting mad at things that people say, and now you're saying things to people and you have this whole battle going on, and it can be detrimental. So it's finding the balance, making sure that you're also exposing yourself to like positive messages, positive images, positive people on social media. It's definitely tricky. Okay. So the last two things I have on here, meditate and breathe. Those might be some newer things to you, or somebody, I feel like somebody mentioned meditation earlier, but I may be making that up. So what I thought we could do now is go into some of those skills. Oh, somebody, if you guys can mute yourselves, I'm hearing my echo. Thank you. Yep, that's better. Okay. Oh, I forgot I had another slide in here. Some other things you can do in addition to self-care to just kind of like maintain your sanity right now as much as possible. Keeping a consistent schedule. And maybe you've fallen into that already. I know at the beginning of this, even I was like, oh, it's like vacation. Like I don't have to get up and go to work first thing in the morning. Like I have all this extra time. I'm going to stay up late. I'm going to do all these other things. And then pretty quickly that started to fall apart. So keeping some kind of schedule. You don't have to get up at 7 in the morning. You don't have to pretend like you're going into school, but doesn't mean like staying up super late all the time. Maybe having some kind of schedule so you know what you're supposed to be doing throughout the day can help fill your time or let you see how much extra time you have and then think of other ways to fill it. Focus on the things that you can control. There are so many things we have no control over. You, us as adults, the whole world, that we just don't have control over everything right now. So paying attention to the things that you can and being mindful of those and sort of making an effort to make good choices over the things that when you do have control. Physical activity we talked about, you don't have to go run a marathon. Like we're not asking for extra stuff right now. But getting up, if you're sitting down at school or you're watching a lot of TV or sitting on your phone, like even just walk around the house while you're on social media, run up and down the stairs, get your heart beating, get your blood pumping. It is good for your mental health as well as your physical health. Practicing self-compassion. I have this quote on the left side that's, you know, self-criticism asks, are you good enough? Self-compassion asks, what is good for you? So now more than ever, paying attention to what you need. Don't beat yourself up because it took you extra long to do that homework assignment or you weren't really feeling it that day and now you have extra work to do later on. Be kind, be gentle to yourself, talk to yourself, treat yourself the way you would treat someone that you love. Hopefully you're not calling your loved ones names or speaking negatively to them. So sort of practice the same compassion for yourself that you might share with other people. And finally, when things get overwhelming or you're feeling really stressed or anxious or scared about something, doing some grounding work, grounding activities can help you too. Is this something, have you heard of grounding before other than like your parents saying you're grounded and you can't go outside or you can't, you know, use your phone or something? Have you heard of grounding?
Wait, what was your definition of it again?
I said other than like your parents punishing you,
Oh.
Like you're grounded, not that kind of grounded. I'm not grounding you in that way. Have you heard of it before?
Yeah, but I don't know what it means.
Okay. All right.
Doesn't it mean when you're like in a certain space with yourself?
In a certain what? You broke up a little bit.
In like a certain place with yourself, like you're grounded, like you're in a situation.
It could be. Is it a good situation or a bad situation?
Like a good situation.
Yes. Yeah. That's basically what it is. So it's a tool you can use to kind of, when you're, like I said, feeling anxious, overwhelmed, it kind of takes your head out of that place momentarily. So you can kind of like regroup, get yourself together, reorient yourself, and then face whatever it is that's stressing you out or that you're anxious about or that you're overwhelmed. So bringing yourself back to the here and now and focusing on what's in the present situation can be helpful. It's not meant to like avoid your problems or to like never come back to it. It's just a way to sort of like grounding, like you can't see my hands, like connecting yourself to the earth, feeling like you are strong and stable so that you can go and face whatever it is that you need to deal with. So there's a couple of things you can do. There's lots of grounding activities. I have a couple listed up here. So the first one, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, tap into your senses. Look around you, pay attention to your surroundings, and think of 5 things you can see, or like notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and something you can taste. So just bringing yourself back into your body and out of your own head, that's sort of the purpose of this one. Another thing you can do is make like tight fists with your hands and then release. And then squeeze your hands as tight as you can and release again. And just repeat that over and over 10 times. Pay attention to the sensation of your hands, like you're connecting with your own body, your hands. Maybe you feel like your nails digging into your palms. Maybe you can see your knuckles getting white because you're squeezing so hard. Maybe your forearms start to hurt. Like pay attention to all of those bodily sensations. You can also hold on to an ice cube or let really cold water run over your hands. Again, it's just bringing awareness to your physical being, to that tactile sense. Maybe to get to more in your head, more of a mental grounding exercise is just pick a category, any category, and then list as many things as you can in that category. So like I have here movies, maybe it's food, maybe it's a city, famous people, anything like that, just to get, again, focus your mind on something else other than what is stressing you out. You can also take deep breaths. So the next thing we're going to talk about is diaphragmatic breathing. So how many of you in your life have ever been told like you need to breathe, take a deep breath, that kind of thing? I imagine some of you.
I have.
Okay. Have you ever been taught how to do that? Like, do you know how to breathe in an efficient way? Sometimes.
In through your nose and out through your mouth.
Yep,
I
Yep,
told
that can help.
yoga this year. So.
Okay, have you heard of diaphragmatic breathing before?
I don't know if this is what it is, but in like therapy, technically they say if you like hold in your breath for like 5 seconds and then let it go, and then you hold it back in for 5 seconds and then you let it go. Is that what that is?
It's exactly what it is. Do you know where your diaphragm is on your body?
Your stomach? Like, is it in the middle?
Yeah, it's in your stomach, like behind your belly button, kind of. And so the importance, you know, breathing helps, and it's all, you have to breathe to live. So we're all breathing anyway, whether we think about it or not. But paying attention to our breath and really trying to breathe from our diaphragm is, when we do that, it activates something called the vagus nerve, which is sort of like in the back of your head. I have this picture up here, and it runs all the way down your spinal cord, and it actually, the nerve itself wraps around some of your major organs. And in order, and then, I'm sorry, once the vagus nerve is activated, it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your calming response. So if you think about like your stress response, or think about how you feel when you're stressed, or like you're scared, or like startled even, it's sort of like, ooh, like you're tight, maybe your heart's beating fast. The parasympathetic nervous system is what calms that down, slows down your breath, slows down your heart rate. And in order to activate that system, the vagus nerve needs to be activated. And in order to do that, you need to breathe from your diaphragm. So if you are okay with it, I wanted to try to do a little breathing exercise. So if you're standing up, if you might sit down somewhere on the floor, somewhere that's comfortable. Try to sit upright if at all possible. If you're at home, you can lie down. If you're more comfortable like that, sometimes I can breathe more easily when I'm lying down. And we can't see you, so it won't be weird if you're lying down. We won't even know. So get comfortable somewhere seated. And I want you to take your, make sure I tell you the right thing and pay attention to what I'm doing. Your left hand on your chest, and then put your right hand, you can't see my belly, but I'm putting it on my belly, like right above my belly button. And then just start taking deep breaths. And what you're trying to do is make that right hand move. So the hand that's on your belly should be sort of like rising up and out when you breathe in, and then coming down and in when you breathe out. You want to avoid breathing through your chest because those are shallow breaths. Like that's not in your system. They're not as like satisfying as those deep belly breaths. When we teach this to kids, we talk about like belly breathing, or imagine you have a balloon in your belly that you're trying to blow up with your breath. So just practice breathing like that just for a minute, if that's okay. And once you start to notice that that right hand is moving a lot more than your left hand, it's a good sign that you're doing it correctly. If you start to feel lightheaded or you start hyperventilating, stop. Don't push it. And then when you come back to it, you might try to just take slower breaths and not as deep, less deep breaths. I don't want anyone passing out. Okay. Somebody mentioned, I don't remember who, but the like counting or holding your breath for a certain amount of time or breathing in for a certain amount of time. So I was going to recommend we try one more breathing exercise, and it's the 5-5-8-2. 5-5-8-2. So what you're going to do is continue those belly breaths, the diaphragmatic breathing that you're practicing right now, and start to count. So you're going to inhale for 5, you're going to hold for 5, you're going to breathe out for 8, and then pause for 2 before you start the next inhale. So you're sort of counting at a steady pace all along. It might be something like, I mean, when I do this, what goes through my head is in, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, pause, 2, in, and so on. So I can keep counting like that, or I can also be quiet and let you focus on your own counting. Okay. So I think this is a good thing to practice. As with anything, it takes practice. It's not how you're probably used to breathing, but it is something that can be really helpful when you're feeling stressed out, or you're overwhelmed with the unknown future, or you're overwhelmed with the schoolwork that you have to do, or all of the responsibilities that you have. Taking that minute to breathe can help calm everything down, refocus you so that you can sort of face whatever it is that's stressing you out in the first place. You know, if you want to continue to practice this on your own, I would strongly encourage you to, but just start out with like a few minutes at a time. You don't have to breathe like this forever because you might pass out eventually before you're ready. Eventually you could work up to like 10 or 15 minutes of just sitting and breathing like this. I'm going to recommend an app called the Insight Timer. It's free to download, and it, as it sounds like, it is a timer, so you can set it for like 5, 10, 15 minutes, and it has these nice like gong sounds or bell sounds that end, so it's not like a startling, like, I don't know, old school alarm clock beeping noise that might cause you more stress. It also has a lot of free guided meditations. I think there's even yoga on there. They have stuff for kids. So if you feel like you have a little sibling at home that needs to calm down too, you could suggest that they listen to some of this stuff. So does anybody have any feedback? Anything you want to share about what it was like to breathe like that? Was it helpful? Was it uncomfortable? Anything? There's no wrong answers. I'm just curious about what it was like for you.
It was helpful. It was calming to like actually pay attention to how you breathe. I think it's calming in general if you just like sit there and not think of anything else. And you can actually tell the difference when you're like breathing from your stomach. Well, at least for me, I was able to tell the difference. I don't know for anyone else.
Well,
But it was
I
calming.
don't breathe from my chest. I breathe with my stomach anyway, so it just felt normal to me.
Okay. Did you maybe take like deeper breaths than you typically do?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for sharing that. Any other thoughts?
Anyone else have any thoughts on that? I know there's more than 2 people on this call.
I don't know who said that they usually breathe from their stomach, but I do the same thing.
Nyquia.
Oh, hey girl. But I usually do the same thing. Anyways, my mom just actually taught me how to breathe like that because I had asthma. So it was pretty normal. But if you do it slower, it actually is pretty calming.
And Serena, you have a background in theater experience too. So theater kids and people who do public speaking, they learn how to breathe down there because you support your voice when you're singing or speaking on stage and that kind of thing. So
right.
You're
I was going to say
cheating.
singers or instrument players too. Like if you need to if you rely heavily on your breath to sing or play an instrument, yes, you might be familiar with diaphragmatic breathing. And hopefully, even if you're used to breathing like that, and also whoever said when they were saying you have asthma, I said good. I didn't mean like good, you have asthma. Good. I know taught to breathe like that. Like, oh, good, you have asthma. That's great. I meant like good, you can breathe, or you've been taught to breathe through your diaphragm. And it can be calming and like taking those deeper breaths. They say that having a longer exhale, like having your exhale be longer than your inhale, can help also. So that's something maybe to pay attention to. Maybe you're not, I mean, most of the time we don't pay attention. We just breathe, right? Like it's not something you have to think about. I know with working in other teenagers, they'd be like, yeah, everyone tells me to breathe. Like nobody ever really taught me what that means. Like I'll tell my own kids, I'm like, take 3 deep breaths. And they're like, there, I breathed. And I'm like, it's not what I meant. So let's practice that, right? So I'm glad none of you did that, or at least I can't see you do that because I would feel like I'm failing at this too. So I'm glad, or I hope that was helpful. It's something you can do. Like you don't need any tools. Like you always have your breath with you. So it's like your number 1 line of defense, or your first line of defense against stress. It's something you can do. Nobody has to even know you're doing it, right? Like it's sort of like this thing you can sort of do without anyone noticing. And it can be really helpful. So there's about 10 minutes left. I had one more thing we could do that I think will take maybe 5 minutes. It was sort of like a guided breathing meditation just to continue practicing our breath. But if there are questions or other things, or housekeeping things that you need to wrap up before and we don't have time to do this, I'm fine with that too. It's really up to you all and how you're feeling about where we are.
Miss Carla, do you have anything else? I'm all set for today.
No, I do not. I'm sorry. I got a call.
No apologies. Yeah, Miss Erin, I think a guided breathing meditation would be great, unless anybody else has any questions. All right.
All right. So I timed this, so I think it should only take about 5 minutes. And I cannot take credit for this script. I did not write it. It comes from Dr. Shyla Meargain, who is a clinical psychologist at the University of Wisconsin. Okay. So I want you to start by settling into a comfortable position and allowing your eyes to close, or you can keep them open and just sort of turn your gaze downwards. And begin by taking several long, slow, deep breaths, breathing in fully and exhaling fully. Breathe through your nose and out. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose or your mouth, whichever feels right. Allow your breath to find its own natural rhythm. Bring your full attention to noticing each in-breath as it enters your nostrils, travels down to your lungs, and causes your belly to expand. And notice each out-breath as your belly contracts and air moves up through the lungs, back up through the nostrils or mouth. Invite your full attention to flow with your breath. Notice how the inhale is different from the exhale. You might experience the air as cool as it enters your nose and warm as you exhale. As you turn more deeply inward, begin to let go of noises around you. If you're distracted by sounds in the room, simply notice them and then bring your attention back to your breath. Simply breathe as you breathe, not striving to change anything about your breath. Don't try to control your breath in any way. Observe and accept your experience in this moment without judgment, paying attention to each inhale and exhale. If your mind wanders to thoughts, plans, or problems, simply notice your mind wandering. Watch the thought as it enters your awareness as neutrally as possible. Then practice letting go of the thought as if it were a leaf floating down a stream. In your mind, place each thought that arises on a leaf and watch as it floats out of sight down the stream. Then bring your attention back to your breath. Your breath is an anchor you can return to over and over again. Return to your breath when you become distracted by thoughts. Notice when your mind has wandered. Observe the types of thoughts that hook or distract you. Noticing is the richest part of learning. With this knowledge, you can strengthen your ability to detach from thoughts and mindfully focus your awareness back on the qualities of your breath. Practice coming home to the breath with your full attention. Watching the gentle rise of your stomach on the in-breath and the relaxing letting go on the out-breath. Allow yourself to be completely with your breath as it flows in and out. You might become distracted by pain or discomfort in the body, or twitching or itching sensations that draw your attention away from the breath. You may also notice feelings arising, perhaps sadness or happiness, frustration or contentment. Acknowledge whatever comes up, including thoughts or stories about your experience. Simply notice where your mind went without judging it, pushing it away, clinging to it, or wishing it were different, and simply refocus your mind and guide your attention back to your breath. Breathe in and breathe out. Follow the air all the way in and all the way out. Mindfully be present moment by moment with your breath. If your mind wanders away from your breath, just notice without judging it, whether it's a thought, an emotion, a sensation that hooks your attention, and gently guide your awareness back to your breathing. So as this practice comes to an end, slowly allow your attention to expand and notice your entire body, and then beyond your body to the room that you're in. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back fully alert and aware of your surroundings. Okay. Any thoughts about that? Have you ever done a guided meditation like that before?
Yes.
You have.
I
Good. Do you enjoy them, or am I torturing you with this?
No, I like that one. My favorite line was, "Noticing is the richest part of learning."
Right. And that's what meditation is all about, actually, is just noticing. I've been taking this a meditation class actually for professionals, and it's always like, just acknowledge it, just notice it, say hi, and let it go on its way, whatever the thought is. So yeah, I like that line too.
And one thing that I want to remind everybody of too is that you might have noticed that Ms. Erin said, as this practice comes to a close. And the thing I want you all to keep in mind is that mindfulness and this kind of meditation, whether it's a traditional meditation or just taking 3 deep breaths or 5 deep breaths, it's called a practice because it takes practice. That the ability to not control your thoughts, but to notice what you're feeling without judging it is really difficult, because society and our families and our, every group you're a part of has its own set of standards for how it believes you should be thinking and feeling. And so being able to notice it without judging it takes a lot of practice. So if it's uncomfortable, or you feel like you want to laugh, or you start feeling anxious, don't judge that. Just notice it, because it is difficult to make this a comfortable thing to do.
Yeah, thank you. That's very well said. It is a practice. It's meant to be a practice. And even people that have been meditating for years will still talk about it as a practice. It's something that you do and you constantly work on. Progress, not perfection.
I love that.
Okay.
I am going to quote that. I like that. Progress is not perfection, or progress is perfection. What did you say?
I think I just said progress, not perfection. Like progress,
Yes,
comma,
progress.
not perfection.
I like that.
Thank you. I like that too. Because then we're always in the works, right? We are all developing. We are all always working on various parts of us.
Yes. Yes, we are.
And that's the shared human experience, I think. Some of us are just more aware of that than other people. Some people think they are perfect. I'm sure you've met those people before.
I live with one.
What was the name of the psychologist that you mentioned before we did?
It's Shyla, which is spelled Shilagh. Shyla. I Googled her and watched a video of her introduce herself, so I knew how to say her name correctly. And then her last name is Mirgain, Mirgain.
Everybody, if you want to look it up, I just put it in the chat.
Thank you.
So if anyone wants to Google it, I got the spelling down.
And do you have any more apps you would recommend?
So I know people use the Headspace app, which is a meditation app. And at least at some point during the COVID-19 situation, they were offering it for free. It's usually a paid app, but they were offering like a longer free trial, or you could access some of the content for free.
Okay.
One thing I do want to make sure that I say for everybody is that it was a few weeks ago now, so I can go in after this and move it to the top of the stream on our Google Classroom. But on the S2C updates Google Classroom, not the SRF, just the updates one, I did post some apps that I reviewed and took a look at in terms of self-care. And there are a few up there that are either totally free or have free resources. So Quay and anybody else who's interested, take a look on the Google Classroom after this, and I'll move that post to the top so that they're easier to find.
There's also some good ones on YouTube. I can't remember the young man that did one in one of the workshops I was in earlier this week. But
oh, that was great, yeah.
We can look at some of those resources too. The one that you just mentioned, Headspace, it does have the in-app purchases. So I think, like you said, part of it is free, and then to get to another level, you have to pay for it.
Yeah. And I have other resources too that Mr. Jeremy, maybe I could email to you, some other
That'd be
guidance
wonderful. Thank
videos
you.
and things like that.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I'll put it all through the Google Classroom. That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. And then I put my contact information up here on the screen. Mr. Jeremy knows how to get in touch with me also if you have questions about anything. If you want to apply to be on our advisory board, I would love that so much. But if you have questions about the application or just, you know, you want to check in with somebody, my information is up there. That is my cell phone number, so you can text me there also, or email.
Can you do a quick run through of the advisory board again?
Yes. So we are starting this new program called Upstreet, which is a drop-in teen mental health center. And as part of the development of that program, we want to make sure that we are including the people that we are hoping to serve. So we need teenagers, young adults, to sort of advise us along the way. We have it's a brand new program. It doesn't exist currently, like nothing like it exists in the I shouldn't say that. Nothing like that exists in Pennsylvania. There's people out in California, like Palo Alto through Stanford University, that are creating something similar. But over here on the East Coast, this is the only thing that exists. So we have a lot of decisions to make about this in terms, even from like what the building looks like inside, what happens when you walk in the door, what type of services should we offer, what should our groups look like. So we want to make sure that we have young people telling us or giving us their opinions on such decisions, because we're not young people anymore. We used to be, but that was a long time ago. So we just want to make sure, I think it's just good social work practice, good practice in general, is making sure like the people that you're serving are sort of have a voice on the decision-making side of things. So we want to make sure that everyone is involved in that.
Erin, is this also with the weekly calls with as a follow-up to the summit that was in March?
Yes, so this is sort of like a brand, like an outshoot of that, all through the Jewish Healthcare Foundation. So yes, it's all related.
Okay.
So if any of you participated in the advocacy event in March, before things changed in March, this is sort of could be an extension of that.
And Quay, if you're interested, I'm usually on those calls. I know there's one coming up next week, but I'm usually on those calls. So if you want to participate, I can give you access as well.
Okay, sounds good.
But yeah, the summit was amazing. I wish everybody could have gone. Brittany did attend, one of our students, but it was a really good to see those young people really participate like they did. It was really great.
Yeah, everyone said it was really powerful to have so many young people with such a strong representation.
It really was.
Anybody have any last questions for Ms. Erin?
Nope.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can do this again, like in person. I want to come to like wherever you are and like actually meet you, interact with you. I would really like that once things open back up.
We'll set something up for 2021.
Right.
Absolutely.
I know.
Absolutely.
Too soon.
Too soon, right.
Yeah, that's too soon.
All right, well, thank you very much, Ms. Erin, and thank you everybody for being here. We really appreciate it.
Don't go school to career yet. I have a couple announcements really quickly.
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm gonna go.
All right.
Thank you very much, Ms.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care, everyone.
Yes, you take care.
Thank you.